And we are live.
Hey
Woo!
everyone, it's Ultra
Hi,
Podcast Z,
everybody.
the show where I lie to JD and say that I'm ready every time we start, even though I am not ready.
We
Uh,
never are.
Fun fact: there's an interview we did in Taiwan. We interviewed Juice, I believe, a Hello Project group named Juice. And one of these days, I want to make a clip compilation of some of the funny things that I accidentally pick up in interviews. And in that one, uh, I'm so nervous because we're in Taiwan. We're speaking two different languages. Like we're trying to speak Chinese here and there, and then the guest is obviously a Japanese guest, so it's like all this language nonsense going on like around us.
Manuel, move a
Setting
bit
up
more
cam.
forward. You're still fading in and out with your background.
Oh, sorry. So we. Anyway, speaking of moving forward, we had to move really fast, like to set up for the interview because it's like they had a lot of like actual press, like like TV press, like from like Taiwan TV and shit like that. So we're rushing, and I'm like, "Are you ready?" And you can hear the other person who's there doing the interview with me. She's like, "No, I'm not ready." In the camera, and I'm like, "Fine, let's go." And you can only hear it. You can only hear it on the camera because she had not set up the other recording yet, which is why you always have two things.
I learned that one the hard way.
Anyway, yeah, you always have two things. Oh, if anyone asks about interviews that are lost to all time because we did not set up a backup recording method of some sort, you always
You've
have to
got to
tell
do
them.
that backup.
No, but then you tell them that the file got corrupted. And I remember I was telling this to Hao one time, and Hao was like, as somebody who like I think he's worked something like tech at some point in his life, or maybe he does still even now, I don't know. But he was saying as somebody who works like that, he's like it would annoy him that like imagine he works on that device or like the firmware, whatever the fuck, and people keep telling them like files get corrupted. He's like, wait, how did they get corrupted? And I'm like, no, it didn't really get corrupted. We're just saying that. It's like, well, don't say that. Anyway. I'm Manuel. That's a long one. That was an intro full of stories. I'm Manuel, leader of Raging Connections, and this is Ultra Podcast Z. And joining me tonight is Josh again. Josh, say hi.
Hi there, I'm Josh, the Photo Otaku. How's it?
Oh, wait, is that what it's for?
Is that what it stands for?
I thought it was for pho.
Yeah.
So did I. I've been saying Photaku this whole time too, thinking it was pho. Like, as in you just like pho that much. Like,
I even asked you a question about pho for that extent or that particular reason.
That's funny. What the hell? I
Funny.
like how I like how we both like reacted to that. I did not know that. I did not know that. And I've known Josh for gosh, it's been 10 years now, I think at least.
Yeah, it's well, the saying only became relevant like I want to say like 2016 or 2017, and that was just because I came up with it with a friend. Also, I'm like trying to figure out where I am located so I can move a little closer. Okay, so I have to move closer
Yeah.
this way. My camera is weird. Oh my gosh.
I have a weird trim on it too. So
There we go. There we
I'm
go.
like
No, we're
coughing
perfect. We're
everywhere.
perfect now. But yeah, the what's it called? Yeah, no, it became a thing because it was like photo otaku, but it's just kind of funny because I've heard so many people mispronounce it, but not in the ways that you would think. People would call me fo for short. Um, and then it was just kind of funny because at that point, because you don't have the what's it called? The little indication over the O in Vietnamese so that you would say pho. So it was I was always hearing things different. The weirdest I heard it was when I was at a video game tournament. So you said it's a handle and everyone called it Taku, or the person who was announcing it was like Phi Taku, and I'm like,
I
is there an I there? Is there like, or it was really weird. It was the weirdest pronunciation I had ever heard, and
there was
like
I'd
I just
imagine
couldn't.
you would just say Photaku. That's how I want to say it. Like like Kotaku. Is that the way you say Kotaku? Like
you were right the second
That
time,
would be
Manuel.
so much closer. That would be so much closer.
Photaku. um Fun fact, if you there have been so many times, usually with Japanese media, fun fact, where people
Mhm.
confuse A to J connections to A to Z connections. Um, we were
Oh wow.
covering, yeah, we were covering this VK festival, like big festival, like Larkin Seal was there, Galay was there, like these giant, huge. Well, if you went to the '90s panel, you know what some of these bands are, but these giant, huge bands. I think it was actually Galay Festival, something I don't remember what it was called. Anyways, we were at the music festival, and we had like backstage passes to obviously go hang out. Technically, we could have interviewed some people, but it was too complicated. But in the press passes that we had, it said A to Z connections, and they were like printed really nice, like passes. And I was like, these are so cool. I wish I wish they didn't misspell our name. Anyway, yeah, we're looking back in 2023, and we're gonna have some fun stories and some other shit.
How can you be looking back on it when you still have a whole month?
Ask
See,
Manuel.
that's the thing I was gonna say earlier. Now, I got this idea a lot because when I do the music panels, and this goes for any award show, anything that looks back on a year officially. th- For most people, the cutoff is sometime in October, which makes no sense to me. Uh, that's like I think that's when like the recommendation, not the recommendations, when like the cutoff for like the Grammys, the Academy Awards, the fucking the Tony Award, all the awards, but also that's like the cutoff when a lot of times like editor like normal print media or like TV media will start doing end of year stories like ending at that time too, or they start writing into like rush if something big happens. So I'm like, we'll do that, and if anything big happens in December, then we're fucked. What is this manual speak translation? I got this idea. I did not. I've been sitting on this idea. We haven't done the end of year thing in a couple years, and we used to do it every year. And it's usually because as we get closer to Christmas, we start canceling shows because like M- Manuel doesn't know how to arrange his life properly. So I wanted to make sure we got it in this time.
That's valid. I get that.
We actually do have some plots to talk about, but how was your year in general, Josh? How did 2023 treat you?
2023 was very, very different. I was starting the year off unemployed, and I ended up getting different jobs. Literally, like the only con that I really went to was just ALA probably this year. I did attend a few other ones local wise, and then I think also the Collector Con in Long Beach, which was probably not. It's not the best con if you want to cosplay. There was like no cosplayers there. Almost everybody just collecting Pokemon cards, pops, and trying to get like that signature from like Goku and Vegeta. But like, if you want to meet up other voice actors, like it was pretty dope. Like they had Bryce there, Christina V there, and there were a few other people. I'm like trying to remember if whether or not Xenon was there, but overall didn't do a lot of cons. Spent a lot of time doing work with like security job. Did something from home for a sec there. Right now doing windshield like herring. It was like very much not that like con focused, but I still met up with friends, took pictures, got out of a relationship, recently started a new relationship. It has been a whirlwind of a year, and like not just counting that one time that we had all that crazy weather back in like March. It was insane.
No, it's funny. I looked up a collectathon right now because I was curious what the hell collectathon was. Did you get to see Sugar Ray?
I don't know. I didn't. I
They
didn't get
they
to see him. It was in Long
it
Beach
says
that I
there.
went to. There's actually a lot of collector cons. Like,
Yeah, there are. It's confusing because the site says Long Beach on the landing page, but it also says live on the main stage, Sugar Ray, and I can't tell if these are connected. But because this is in August, but it looks like Sugar Ray was there, and I'm like, what the hell? I would like to see Sugar Ray.
yeah,
Anyway,
it's very all over the place. But like, I really enjoy getting to go to the San Diego Anime Con. I was
oh
actually
yeah.
gonna go to Ronin Expo with like Denise. Also, we were supposed to do like Spy Family together for a special thing going on there, but I had to do photos for my cousin's daughter's quinceañera. So
Oh.
like it was a really busy weekend. That one weekend was actually pretty busy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I did Ronin Expo, but I was barely there. I think it was hot that day, and like I think that was the start of like all my cons back to back. I think Vegas was the weekend after. So like I did Ronin Expo, did the panel, walked around the exhibit hall once, and then left because I was like,
It's a small con, I bet, right?
I mean, it is a small con too, but it was also I tend to like I will go back to the con, but at that point I'm like I want to go somewhere else. So if I had a hotel room, I probably would have sat in the hotel room for a bit, watched a movie, drank, invited people over, then gone back to the con in the evening for something. But like without that, I'm like, I'm just gonna go home. And that's what I did. But yeah, I did that, did San Diego with you. San Diego was fun. I actually went to the con a lot. It was hot.
I bet.
It
I bet
was a
it
good
was.
It was a good first year con though at San Diego. Like San Diego sold out. If you got a badge through me, which they gave me some for doing the panels, you got
Yeah,
lucky because
yeah.
it was sold
I
out
for me though,
completely.
it felt more hot like inside of the con because outside of the con it felt a lot fresher.
Oh,
Like there were probably
yeah.
some times where like the weather was like okay, but like I still believe you if you say that it was hot. For
The
me though,
fucking
it did feel
okay.
cold though.
I think they because I don't think nobody really went because I went in there as soon as they opened. I know that's shocking for Manuel. You would not believe. Like I don't blame you if you don't believe me. But like Josh got the badges for us, which by the way they did not. They just gave them to him, which is I find
No,
hilarious.
I literally I could have just like not have like I could have trolled and just been like, "Oh,
I
I
was
know
like,
Manuel's gonna be here. Let me go like ask
yeah.
for like his badges," and then like just be given them. There was no real way of validating who I was, but um to be fair, I don't think anybody would know to just go up and be like, "Hey, I'm here to collect such and such as badges." Like
But
it seems almost. I think the only people that would have been the most acceptable to it would have been like cosplay guests that were there, because like if you could just pretend that you were one of them, give or take on like how you presented yourself, you probably could have just gotten free badges.
I'm actually D Pity. You've never seen my face, so I mean, you can't find D Pity's face. But I just want to anyway. No, but Josh got the badges. Everyone got ready and left. So I was like, you know what? For once, because I think we had drank a shit ton on day zero the night before. So like for once, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go
we
to the
did.
con now, and like I'd already gotten ready, so I went. And like I don't know if the con was not prepared. I mean, if the hotel was not prepared for the amount of people and the small spaces they had, but it honestly felt like they hadn't turned on the AC yet. And in case you don't know this, most cons pre-cool rooms they know they're going to use because it takes a long time for the AC to to cool a room that already has 1,000 bodies in it or whatever. Because like,
That's interesting.
yeah, like if you ever go to AX on day zero, like like when we have press, we do some of the interviews there. It is a fucking it is like a walk-in fridge. If you go in like on the off day, because there's no one in there, but they pre-cool all the rooms. So even though like it does get hot and people complain about how hot and sweaty it always is in that con, there is a point when it's fucking freezing when there's no one in there. It's just all the bodies. But anyway, I think the hotel didn't anticipate that because it was fucking hot. I went to the whole con and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the room. This is too much. But yeah, everyone saw me. Like I remember, like Callie's like, you actually came out. It was like 10:30. Like the con had just opened a half hour before. I'm already wandering around it. And then that's why I don't do it. No, just kidding. But yeah, it was a good con. I didn't buy anything, mainly because I didn't have no money. But I did drink a lot and had a lot of fun. Saw a lot of things, and yeah, it was great.
Oh, so we pretty much already told us about some cons that were pretty small. Now, did you also do like Anime Pasadena and Chibi? I know you did Chibi, but like, did you
I
also
did
do
cheap.
Pasadena?
I did Chibi, and there's some Chibi stories I'll tell at a different time. But like I didn't do Pasadena because that was the weekend I did. What the fuck is the Vegas con called? Sin
Sin
City
City.
Anime. Yes, Sin
Mm.
City Anime. That was the same weekend as Pasadena. Also like the big takeaway from my year, and to get back on topic, the big takeaway from my year in
Yeah.
2023 was like this felt like the year when I got back to cons. Uh,
Mm.
like I used to do them all the time pre-pandemic, like every single one. And even though they technically most of them hadn't gone away, but you have things like Impulse and Anime Pasadena. Fun fact: and Anime Pasadena also, I believe, who the fuck runs that? Nerdbot, I believe. And I think that they have a bunch of cons that are like Anime this, Anime City. Um, and as in Anime blank city name. That's what I mean to say. Those and the Impulses are like, to me, they're not cons.
They're
I'm not sure
not
if this.
cons? Oh,
I'm
here's
not
a
sure.
hot take.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a hot take, and apparently it is, but I don't consider those cons.
Are
Cause
you
like,
saying that because they're like sharing space with
yes, they're
like
like, especially Impulse. Pasadena, I know, is in the Pasadena Convention Center, but especially Impulse is just like a fairground thing, and I'm like, that's not a con. It's just like it's a marketplace and a cosplay gathering thing, and there's literally nothing there for me because I rarely buy things at these things. Even when I did have the money to like waste, I would still rarely buy shit at these things. 'Cause I'm like, what am I gonna buy? It's like another anime figure that I'm gonna like probably sell down the road, or another anime DVD I'm never gonna watch, and so on. But and also they don't really have programming in the traditional sense. Like maybe they'll have a main stage panel for a guest of honor or something like that, but they're not gonna have like nerd. Well, actually, they might have that one. But they're not gonna have like which Pokemon is the best, or like, going for cosplay 101, or like, music of the lost decade, guide to J-pop of the 90s. But they're gonna have shit like that. That's my
Shameless
problem.
self promotion.
But yeah, they're not gonna have shit like that. They're gonna have just like one stage, guest of honor, and that's it. So those aren't cons to me. I mean, I don't consider those any of those cons, and there's a lot of those. Those have taken over the scene since the pandemic. Well, okay,
Dude,
they
that's
existed
I could
before.
say
Both
the
of them
same
did.
thing about the what's it called? The same thing about that collector con that I went to, because a lot of those were around kind of
Mhm.
pre-pandemic also, as well as some really smaller ones. Like I do get your vibe, because even with that other one, it just felt like more of a place where you go to meet some of the celebrities there to get stuff signed, and then
Oh yeah,
also just buy like a bunch of like collectible based stuff. So it didn't really feel like a con. There weren't a lot of cosplayers. And then talking about the ones that are held by Impulse, like they do generally feel small, and there's just the extra things that you go to check out, but mainly you end up having like some people who check out the markets, and the majority of weebs all just everywhere with like a
yeah.
couple of shows highlighting.
Impulse shares space with like the Shoe Expo and like the Asian American Expo and a bunch of other like semi-related things. Like, it's weird. And Impulse also specifically seems to only care about VTubers the past like year or two. If you're a
No,
fan
no
of
shame, no shame.
I mean, if you're a fan of VTubers, that's your go-to place. But that's
Mhm.
all they seem to focus on. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like, and it makes them money. So I guess you can't really like knock them on it. But it's like, actually, you want to hear my huge hot take? And this actually goes right back to
Go,
the
let's
year thing.
go, let's go.
This is my big hot take for 2023. I actually had this conversation, and I want no one to ever say that Manuel is biased, because I've mentioned this before, but I do promotional work for Oshi Live, which is a VTuber promotion company. So I am not biased, but I do have views on this. Um, as somebody who's been going to anime conventions for like a decade plus, like not quite 20 years, but for a long time. I've seen a lot of things happen at anime cons. And one trend that always happens are fans complaining about why is X thing at the anime con. And it's always different things. Back in the day, I remember when VK was a lot bigger than Visual K, people were like, why is the VK bands here? Like, they're not anime. And then like when K-pop was really popping off, funny enough, before BTS, more like, I don't know what was sending it around back then, but like people were
Shiny.
like,
What year? What
in
year?
like the early 2010s, like up
Shiny.
to up, yeah. But everyone's like, like, why is there K-pop in my anime con? Like, there's no K-pop. Like, what? Shit like that would happen a lot. Or like, when Hatsune Miku was big, and it's funny because Hatsune Miku is, and all this stuff, you could find things that are linked to it. But when like Hatsune Miku was coming big, it's like, oh, that's not anime. When like concerts would happen, it's like, why the fuck is Baby Metal here? Why the fuck is so and so here? And I think VTubers are and I don't think no one's realized it yet. But then again, I think because a lot of us have this VTuber echo chamber, because I know friends who are already, and you have to go like to the younger fans usually, um, like the new anime fans who are coming in, they only want anime. Uh, it's the thing to hate, and I agree.
But the
It's like,
thing to hate right now are the VTubers.
what the fuck do VTubers have to do with anime? And why do they make up like half of the programming?
Okay, okay, because one, it comes out of Japan. You could argue that they're
Do
kind
they?
of
Do
animated.
they?
You could definitely say that their expressions are very animated, but like you gotta understand. You already have like, and I think they're a little salty because this is kind of getting in the way of idol culture.
It
Um,
is. It is funny because like there was a certain co-host on this very show who like went off to follow her VTuber dreams, who used to agree with me that like shit like VTubers are like seeping into the idol, like getting too integrated and too confusing with the idol thing. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like interject here because it's not that it's necessarily something that's completely negative, but I think it was something that definitely benefited from the pandemic. You had everybody who's
Oh yeah.
feeling just a little lonely, don't have anything else to do, and then you have something that can kind of act as like, it's like kayfabe on like crack. Because everybody likes to enjoy wrestling and stuff like that, and then here you have literally just you know actors being these really cute anime girls. For the majority of them are anime girls. But then later anybody else could like make their own VTuber scene, whether it be YouTube or a hyper, even Twitch. And it becomes something that a lot of people can enjoy, especially because you could put up this different persona. Like people could know that it's you, or in the case of what's it called, Hololive, it's very much just those are the characters, they are here, and it feels like it was perfect. It's like, what if you could have just had like a character from an anime just full on just pretend to be themselves online, and everybody's already like super hyped. You have lore that's built there, you later have everybody who like communicates with one another. uh it's very synergetic, and then it doesn't help that like Trash Taste had the Mori girl on
Oh.
their on their stream
The other
too, and
Kelly.
it's like
We-
it it's like I get it. Persona, yeah, they're Persona. Yeah, I was even trying to take a drink every time I make a Persona reference. Sorry, I've been playing too much Tactica. No, do not apologize for playing too much Tactica. um and But like, I see where you're coming from, because there's generally people that like put their all out there, and then you literally have just like, in terms of Hololive, they are just product. Like the clothes, they are meant to be what you interact with in a very parasocial way, like straight up. Like most of the time celebrities are just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll sometimes follow them, maybe it feels like I engage with them, I could probably do really well if they're a regular streamer or not. But then literally you have people that are just there to be kind of like, yes, I am here, check me out, everything's really funny, this is who I am. And then the pandemic occurs, so nobody else has really anything else to do, and I feel like they really take off, and now we literally have like VTuber cons, and
But
then
see,
also
that's the thing. A VTuber con I get, and like once again, I will say this: uh, I doubt this will ever make its rounds. But if somebody finds this and wants to counsel me later on, I want to point out that when I am promoting like VTubers at certain events, and I tell you they're going to bring in numbers, I'm not lying. I just wish that weren't the case. Does that make sense? But anyway, um, I want to clarify real fast before I think I interrupted you, but I want to clarify real fast because just JD mentioned in the chat about what's his face, what's his face, Miku, uh, being in anime and even VTubers in anime. But when I mentioned Hatsune Miku, maybe no one remembers this because it's been so long. Hatsune Miku, I don't know when she debuted, maybe 2008 or 9, but she's been there like pretty much like I remember like way back. And this is long before like was she even in an anime? Like I feel like she actually wasn't in one. Maybe does Black Rock Shooter count? I don't know. But like that came later. I'm talking about just like when she was just a drawing attached to a vocal to a piece of music software. Um
mhm.
like that's like at what point do we it, see this all goes back to like I don't want to like get too deep in the weeds here, but if maybe you disagree with me, but if I'm gonna sit here and say that like Avatar is an anime, that like Teen Titans is an anime, how the fuck are you gonna call a music software that has a drawing attached to an anime? How are you gonna call VTubers anime related? And sure, you can say they're from Japan, but most of them are just local weebs like with the anime drawing. I don't know. And these drawings are usually drawn by local people as well. More power to everyone, by the way. Everyone, I hope everyone keeps doing well in all their chosen fields. I just feel like it's taken over so much of anime con programming, and I'm like, does it need to? Should it
I
be?
think I think it's a thing that like happens. It's what is both really popular right now, and I feel like it was made specifically for weebs. Like idols can come in like all shapes, sizes, genres in music, and it's not necessarily something where they're looking for, or not that they're intentionally looking for that weeb demographic. It's really just people that are into metal, or if they're really into like an idol group, or uh, like very specifically a genre based fan base that maybe will overlap sometimes with weebs, especially if we're talking about those that do like anime intros and stuff. But the VTubers literally feel like they exist specifically to cater to the weeb culture. And I know that's tough when it's like this is now what the scene is becoming, and it's causing a lot of people to follow suit with that. Um,
I
so
think
like
I'm just revealing my boomer. I think that's what this all
you're
has to do with.
revealing your boomer. Do we have to
Yeah,
like say
Manuel,
like
we all
how
know you're a
like
boomer. You don't have to reveal anything.
I'm just like, it's funny because I used to
what
like.
happened to the boomer message?
Oh,
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, there it
the redeem
is.
only stays up for a minute.
Oh, don't get
Ah,
me
darn it.
wrong. I never I never like. I enjoy the argument about K-pop because I do agree that K-pop should. I'll never back down. The K-pop shouldn't. Should I'm sorry. The K-pop should ever be an anime convention, but
You can't. Okay, you can't do that when like people like Jungkook like to go to anime conventions and stuff
well,
like
he can
that.
go to anime convention, but should he be a guest? I mean, I guess he should.
Yes, you should. Oh my gosh, if
That would
dude,
be
there
fun.
are some. I've been to shows that have people like almost having no business to be in like a Comic Con or an anime con. And if Jungkook decided that he want to hold a panel there, I'm just gonna tell you right now, that
I
con
mean,
is
that
sold out.
I
Straight
was gonna
up,
say
it will
like
be sold out. That panel will be hit with overflow. And this is all hypothetical because I've been
it's
informed
funny.
by my lovely girlfriend that he's
Go
already
ahead.
like enlisted. But like, wait, yeah, he's already enlisted. So it's not like that's even in the cards right now. But if like, let's say after like a few years when he comes back and they decide to like really let their website out, I'm sorry, like that. If the, BTS decides, hey, we want to go hit up like a con, that con will be just like flowing in money and
Well,
people. There
that's
will
the
literally
thing.
be.
This brings up a very good point, and this is probably gonna. This is the part where I'm gonna lose a lot of people. They're gonna hate me. And mind you, these are not my terms. I'm gonna talk about a thing that happens. Um, and I'm gonna give you an example that won't piss off anyone. I'll go to the examples that piss off everyone. So I love this. Well, they don't exist anymore, but I love this band called 6 a.m. It's a band made up of Nikki Six. It was like a solo band from Motley Crue. Now, he was really good friends with with Larkin Seal singer Hyde, and Hyde had this band called Vamps. It was like this more rock, uh, more like rock roots type band. And Vamps opened for 6 a.m. on this one tour they did in the U.S. And I went to the concert, and you know what the fuck? I went to a couple concerts, I should say. That's the point. You know what the fuck? Every show on the tour was like. Uh,
Weeb Central.
okay, that's what I'm getting at. You had a crap because they were the opener, by the way. You had a crap ton of weebs and Japanese fans, and a huge half of the crowd was clearly just there for Vamps because it's like it's Hyde. They don't. He doesn't really. Well, now he does, but he didn't really come to the U.S. that much back then. We need to go see Vamps. And then you know what happened when Vamps walked off the stage?
What happened?
They all left. And
What?
yes, they all fucking left.
They were
And
just there for the opening act.
there's a term for this, and this is not my term, but they call these low quality attendees anything, and what that means is yes, you'll get the money, yes, you'll sell out your event, but if they're only going for the one thing, does that count? Because you don't want
Hey, we stayed for your kids.
yes, thank you. That's the whole idea. It's like, and most general weaves, and obviously you could say like, man, you don't go to anything, and yes, but I'm always at the con. I stay there the whole fucking time on premises, just not like
Manuel,
in the center.
did you ever actually enter the premises of Anime Expo this year?
I did not. But anyway, anyway,
I rest my case.
okay, but that's a huge term, and like it's funny because I talk about this with some VTuber people, and I won't mention any names here because I don't want to like start calling people out. But by their own admission, this is an issue. Like Anime Impulse is a good example. Like you have half of the attendees at these like events that cater to VTuber fans, and it becomes, why don't you just do a VTuber event? Because half the attendees don't give a fucking 2 cents about anything else going on. They'll go to the meet and greets, they'll go to the concert, and they'll fucking leave. And obviously there's a ton of exceptions, but a lot of them will do that. And they'll even tell you that they'll do that. They'll be like, I'm only here for so and so. And like, when you have such a huge draw and so many of them are only there for so and so, they're not for your event. You don't really want people like that, because when VTubers and VTubers only example here. Okay, what happens when 6 a.m. shows up without vamps? Yeah, like what happens to show up without vamps? Are they still going to sell out the tours? What happens if Anime Impulse stops inviting fucking Nichi Sanji every other week? Like, are they still going to sell all their fucking shit? And like, I don't know.
So you're saying that it's better if the event is just centralized around a particular theme than just saying, hey, we have a little bit of everything and we're pulling in a lot of different crowds simply because we're trying to cater to like everybody. We're trying to get.
I'm going to get fired because of this.
Yeah. Hey, Oshila, if you're hiring, I need a job. I can do everything Manuel does. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, no, it's okay. It's because this reminds me of back like I think it's like 2010 or 2009 of San Diego Comic-Con. And what happened was Twilight had recently had their first movie come out, and there was actually going to be a panel in Hall H for what's it called? It's Twilight. I know Eclipse is the third book. New Moon. So there was going to be a panel for New Moon, and just because there was going to be a panel for it at Comic-Con, there was a spike in attendance specifically from Twilight fans who wanted to attend that particular what's it called? That particular room when they were going to have, all the celebrities there. And it's Hall H doesn't like empty out. It just allows people as they're coming in.
Oh, so like
But
they would just sit there all day.
yeah, but there's just a line. There's like a line of Twilight fans intermixed with all the other people that are there for all the other announcements. So, whether or not that those Twilight fans just leave right after the particular panel has happened, but it's not like they're just going to have the actors there. So that still takes up a good amount of time. There's a lot of people that get a little bit upset about the fact that it became so crowded. And yeah, like the potential of that happening can occur if you just have a very specific guest to show up at an event just so that you can sell an uptick of tickets to go to it.
See, what you're describing is a little different, because I get what you're saying, and I get like every event will have a spike like that. Like every event will have the Twilight panel. But
because it's like what you were saying earlier about that band, as soon as the band left the stage, all the people like were just kind of like,
dispersed.
oh yeah, we're not even gonna like give the other people here the time of day. We're done. We were here for one very specific thing.
The fucking but the thing is, like, imagine like if Comic-Con, actually this is a terrible example. Actually, I'll use the example. We'll just imagine that Twilight was still going on or whatever. Imagine if like they devoted half their programming to Twilight every fucking year, and then Twilight ended, and they're like, oh shit. Wonder why we have a drop in attendees, because that's kind of, in my opinion, what's going on with like VTuber programming. I don't know.
Manuel, and I think by the time that like fully winds down, or ever does, there'll just be something new that they'll replace it with.
But like,
I figured that I would agree with JD actually.
Like there'll just be some new thing that's cool to promote, that they'll have like 5 people there to talk about it, which will bring in 5,000.
By a similar token, when like K-pop was big, the things I mentioned already.
Don't you say was? Do not say was.
Okay, well, thankfully, I think it's by K-pop's own admission, it got so big that it didn't have to ride the coattails of anime ever again. More power to anyone who's a K-pop fan, because I'm pretty sure they didn't want to be at an anime thing, half the time either. Became its own separate thing. I feel like the programming never went this far in one direction. Like,
well, yeah, man, we're talking K-pop, not British bands.
Shut up. But like, mind you, none of the cons I think I attended recently went too heavy into the VTuber thing. But I'm specifically calling out cons like Anime Impulse and like that seems to, and there's a ton of others around that like half their guests, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like we talked about this in the past UPZ. I'm over the whole virtual guest thing. It's like maybe I'm just like, maybe it's the anti-vaxxer in me, just a little bit of it. I'm kidding, by the way, but like
Dude,
whenever
you
I
were
see,
having virtual guests before like the
see,
pandemic hit.
it's funny you say that because like it's funny you say that because I pointed this out too, that we used to have virtual guests at some of our panels back in the day. Like we had Kaya. I think Kaya is a fucking guest at like Anime Boston this year or some shit like that, or which one? Otakon or some shit. Like they're a giant. They're promoting the fuck out of them. Like we had Kaya at a panel anyway, and just a panel talking about VK. Anyway, we were doing that before the pandemic, but now the pandemic happened, and that was the only thing you could do. Now I'm done with it. Now I'm like, no, they need to be fucking right next to me, or I'm not going. And you bet. Okay, I am a boomer. Never mind. I just realized I'm just.
Yeah,
the
man,
boomer's
it
boomer.
took you that long. How many times have we called you boomer lately?
Okay, I just realized I'm getting very like, get off my lawn.
Are you saying then that you also just don't like the VTubers because they remind you of not so cool
Yes,
days?
yes. It's funny.
Well, I have some bad news for you because like, did you notice that right now there's a new outbreak occurring in China?
Is there really? Hold
There's
on.
a new outbreak, a new pneumonia that's
Hold on. New
spreading like
outbreak.
wildfire.
Yeah.
Is there really?
Yes.
So here's the thing, though. No one is believing China this time around with them saying that they can contain it, and because this is like very similar to like COVID was a 2019 thing going into 2020. So I'm pretty sure everybody's already doing their
Well,
like preparations to keep this from
yeah.
exploding.
To be fair, and I don't want to. I don't want to sound like those short-sighted people who said the same thing about COVID. But to be fair, a lot of outbreaks happen in like in Southeast Asia for whatever reason. I don't even know why this is. Like I'm not saying that like that's just where they happen. There's clearly a lot of factors here. And not that China is technically Southeast Asia, but somewhere in Asia, a lot of outbreaks happen every couple of years, and most of them don't really spread that far. So I'm hoping that this is just like people just thinking too far ahead because of COVID. But then again, maybe we're on lockdown next year. I don't know.
No, I'm really hoping that doesn't happen again.
For the
Like
record,
that
yeah,
that was pretty tough,
I don't
and
think it.
I haven't been back to Expo yet, so I would like to go to Expo.
I'll be real. And I think both of you would agree with me. I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen if another like COVID type event happens, but I am positive that lockdown will not work in the US again. Like
Okay,
and
it's
I
not
don't
that
mean
it
not
won't
work. I
work
mean
out.
no one's
I
gonna go
mean,
for it. We're not
but
gonna have
here's
like
the thing:
kumbaya for a few weeks.
the only people that are currently being affected by this bug are the youth and the elderly. So if you're saying that technically, what's it
Kill
called?
the kids of the old
Nobody
people.
listens to it. I really see it just being all the right wing people who will not listen to it. So if the right wing people were to like, their kids get sick, or the what's it called, the elderly get sick from this, I'm pretty sure a lot of those elderly people who would get sick are probably going to be right wing for not taking precautions anyway. So you're just going to see like a drop in the right wing voting base, which I'm all for. No, I just said a drop in
He
a
just said
drop
right
in the
wingers would die.
voting. I'm not implying anything else. I'm just saying that there'd be a drop.
Yeah, we're
In,
not
in,
implying anything
in
else. What he means is they're too sick to vote. We'll just leave it at that. They
they're
get so
too
sick.
sick. Whoa, I just don't, especially after what happened the other year. Like these are the people that are the most violent. If a new COVID just happens to like keep them from being active during the election year, I'm totally for it, and that's on them. But yeah,
When
I am joking about this only because like I also believed that COVID would not hit us as hard as it hit us. But that's what happens when you have a dumbass president.
I
You
remember,
know,
I I remember I was at ALA 2020, which happened in January,
yeah.
and I remember Snacks, Isaiah Snacks, who has been on streams and podcasts before. He had just come back from Japan, and he had went to go see that ship, the COVID ship. I forget what the fuck it was called. There was a cruise ship that was stuck in Japan, and they wouldn't let anyone off because like it was so. I don't mean to laugh. Sorry, I'm just laughing on for something else. But like it was so infected that they just made everyone stay there. And he went to go visit the ship. And like in retrospect, and we were hanging out with him at ALA. In retrospect,
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I'm like, there were so many things wrong with that entire story I just said. But I remember
Mhm.
especially thinking about like, COVID's wacky. Isn't this so weird? I think they'd already been locking down San Francisco by that point. Because I remember Tiffany mentioning that, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back home soon and like might be stuck there. And boy, did we not know what was in store.
We didn't know, man. I just barely got back in because I went to go to my cousin. They had a wedding over in what's it called, Puerto Vallarta, and literally when we got back is when the news was coming in that like all the toilet paper is gone and everything.
Oh,
Like we got back to just be greeted by
dude.
that, and then like
No,
later
I
that week I
remember.
wasn't working.
I remember like sorry, it's turning into COVID. I will move away from this JD in a second, JD. But I do remember I don't think I'd known really JD yet at this point, but I was warning all my friends because at this point, like when it was really starting to kick off, people like in some of my friends like in Australia, like it was like that was like where it really happened first. We're like, dude, all the toilet paper is gone. You should go stockpile it because that's probably gonna hit you guys next. So I told all my friends, and probably we were probably part of the problem. And I even went out and got a bunch. And then we were stockpiled, but like literally, I think I told some family they didn't believe me, and by the weekend, they were like, "We have no toilet paper." I'm like, "Sucks to be you. I'm not giving you any of it."
Also, Manuel, yeah, we definitely didn't know each other by then. I don't think we knew each other until DTL episode 13, which was like late August, early September.
Fun fact: I never told you this before, but maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. But I remember that was the episode where Molly did her Nancy Drew thing,
Yeah.
and uh, and there were some people that she had invited for the Nancy Drew community, which I guess exists. I remember because there was a handful of chatters that we only had for like her segment that were like, and those are back in the days when the streams would hit like pretty good numbers. And I think during her segment we had like in the 20s, which for us was like unheard of at the time. But anyway, I thought you were one of the Nancy Drew people, especially because of your name.
I mean,
I don't
that's
think I've ever met.
it's not Nancy Drew related, but that's the reason I have the name.
For those who don't know, well, you can see the chat, but for those who don't know, his username is Mr. Otaku. So I always, so when I first met him, I assumed he was one of the Nancy Drew people that Molly, because Molly had like went to the Nancy Drew Discord, which I guess exists, and like, or wherever the fuck the Nancy Drew fans hang out. And by the way, I mean Nancy Drew video games, um, wherever they hang out. And she had mentioned to them she was gonna do it. That was a long DTL. Her thing went on for over an hour, and I think she had it was in two
It was
parts.
a
I don't remember.
two-part.
Yeah, it was over an hour each part. Anyway, fun fact: I wish those games were available. That's my only lost media thing. I really not lost media, but it's the only game preservation thing that bothers me. Those games are so hard to play these days. Anyway, COVID was a wacky time. Is it terrible? Actually, it is terrible to say this. I remember somebody did a story on this and like how terrible it is, like that some Gen Zers are saying things like this. But I missed that lockdown period. It was kind of fun. The first couple
I
weeks.
think I think yeah. Like at first, it just kind of felt like it was just kind of a break because things just kind of slowed down for
Yeah.
a sec. But as it progressed, there
Then it
were
got
some
stupid.
people that got stir
Ti-
crazy.
oh, but yeah, tying it back to this year, that's one of my big takeaways. 2023, I think, was the first year that I feel like I returned to normalcy. I didn't do it on purpose, but I have noticed that like I've gone to like all these cons, and don't get me wrong, I still try to wear a mask, but I haven't worn a mask at a lot of things, and maybe that's why I got sick after fucking the fucking Vegas one for a minute. But I don't know. But like, and I did wear a mask almost all that one. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The only reason I really wore a mask at the Vegas one because it was really smoky because it was in a casino. Um,
Mhm.
but like I don't think I touched a mask at all at San Diego. I did wear one at Chibi, but I took it off because it was sweaty. But yeah, like I now I'm just raw dogging everyone's
Raw
breath
dog.
again. What happens happens. And it's wild because like every so often some of my friends will still get COVID, and I'm like, oh shit, that exists still. I keep forgetting.
Thankfully, it hasn't been nearly as deadly as it was during like 2020 and 2021. Um, I didn't get it till like 2022, but I don't nearly hear as many people come across it. And
I got it this year. I got it earlier this year. I got it.
oh shit,
Yeah, I went to a convention, not an anime convention. Funny enough, I went to a convention right after ALA, like 2 weeks
Yeah.
after, and I caught it because like it was kind of going around that time, and a bunch of people I knew, and I fucking caught it, and it was the worst COVID I had in a while. Because I've had that was the third time I had it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I had that really fun unvax COVID, so like I almost died. But
Damn, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah. Wait, I have
But
enough
yeah,
passwords. I could survive Manuel.
it takes
I'm
a
kidding.
lot
I still
more
want
than-
Manuel alive.
What's that con again? You said it was like 1-2 weeks out. It was making its rounds. Like, where was it?
It was in LA, and I'll say it was an adult con. And
Oh.
What, like a hentai con or what?
it was a porn con, but I don't really mind saying this, but it was a porn con, and it was separated into like an industry part of it and a public part of it. And so it was a I think AX used to be like this with Project Anime, but they don't do it anymore. It's like the way E3 is, I guess, or E3 was. Anyways,
Yeah, we lost that this year.
as in it was like a full week, an actual full week, and I must have caught it like as soon as we were hanging out with everyone, because like the second or third day of the industry part, so many of the people were like, "Oh shit, we got COVID. You should all get tested." And then we all got tested, like, "Oh shit, we're positive," but we were still fine. And I'm like, "I guess I'll stay home." And then by the weekend, when the actual public part of the con was going on, I was dead. Well, not literally dead,
Damn.
but I was in bed dying. So yeah, it was not fun.
That's pretty bad, though.
Oh yeah, and it was one of those super spreader events too. Like a lot of people got sick that I know of, and then like if you knew where to look, there were people talking about it too. Like hundreds infected at this event, and of course there are all the jokes like, of course, to be a porn convention, and I'm like, it's an airborne disease. What do you expect? You could just breathe on. So we get from raw dogging everyone. Everyone keeps saying that.
Yeah, Manuel. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about let's talk about well, what were the actual topics? I didn't mean to go on about VTubers so long. We actually did have a lot of topics.
I mean, what other like cons? Like you went to you see Dingo to Expo? Did you do like Fanime or anything
Oh,
else?
yeah, I keep forgetting you didn't go to anything this year. I went to
Yeah,
Fanime.
I said I was pretty much just working through most of this year. I mean, I hit up like the Kiori Pami Pami concert. That was pretty dope.
See, one of the issues I had was during the first half of the, and it's funny because like it keeps getting worse and worse. I had a lot of like financially issues the first half of the year, like really bad ones. So I wasn't able to go to a lot of the events I would have liked to. Like I remember I was supposed to go to Level Up earlier this year, to the point when Janet was just telling me just fucking come, and and I'll fucking just stay here for free because I've already booked the place without you anyway. So there were a lot of, like I was saying, Vegas. There were a lot of cons that like earlier on in the year I had a lot of financial issues. So there were a lot of cons I was going to go to that I wasn't able to. Specifically, for one example, I was supposed to go to Level Up Expo. Like I was that roommate who like told everyone that I was gonna pay my share. That when it came time, like, bro, I got no money. I'm not going to the con. And it got to the point where Janet was like, just fucking come, and then you just stay for free, I guess, because we already paid for the place. And I couldn't get to Vegas, but things kind of sort of cleared up during the summer, so I still managed to go to Fanime and AX. But after those two, I was so determined to go to everything. I'm like, there's ways to do this, like even ways to do it that are like super cheap. And by this point, like Oshi Life was actually making money that I could consider it mad money almost, as in like I could put it towards cons and shit like that, not to like surviving.
Okay.
And what?
Manuel, sorry. Look at chat. Do we know these people or should I ban them?
The Photaku looks touchable.
What
I
we
assume
have
somebody
here,
would know. Whoa!
Yeah.
That's someone you know.
100%. I could grab him so easily.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna.
1x.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. We're blowing up.
No, wait.
I have no idea what they're.
Wait, we're getting viewers though. What happened?
I have no
yeah.
idea.
Wait, don't blame
You
anyone.
have to let it be.
No,
for right now.
they're making uncomfortable
Unban them.
message about you.
Unless if they say
Unban
something
them.
really bad. I don't know
Sorry,
who Eric
guys.
Rice is.
Sorry, person we
Hold on.
banned. Can
Look,
I unban them?
Yes. Just keep
I don't know how
going.
to- Anyways, unban them. Anyway, welcome people. I'm not sure what just happened there. But anyways,
We were
I
just
was
having some
determined.
people that apparently were getting steamy with me for some reason. I'm not sure if it was
Yeah.
because I was eating a second ago or not.
I could Well, there was that one podcast. It was a while ago. Where I think about this a lot. So I'm like, why did I say that live? I think was I drunk? I don't remember if it was drunk. I don't think it was a drunk podcast. When I mentioned something about like there are none of my friends I wouldn't want to sleep with because I have such
Okay.
hot friends.
Okay, now I
Remember when I
noticed. I
said
was just
that?
double checking just to be sure. Okay, no. So Cat Girl Hanak, just pointing out that's my girlfriend.
Okay.
So
Oh,
she's probably like, I don't want these people talking about you this particular way. But okay, so that's why I was just checking. Well, it looks different because on the chat thing, it's like big eye thing, like, oh my gosh, you're allowing it. Oh, but then they're seeing over here, acquired, could grab. Oh wait, hold on. I see it like banned on one side, and on the other side, there's right there. I don't know who acquired 1X is, so I'm gonna assume that they're just like a troll that walked in.
yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah, don't ban me. I'm just dreaming of you, Photaku. Okay, I
I
am going to
I
say
do
that you're
think
gonna have to be Eric Rice. You're gonna have to be careful about what you say because
no. I
I
do
do
think the
have
one that
a
got banned was
girlfriend.
saying. Oh,
Uh,
um looks so touchable, bro. I don't know who Eric Rice is. I'm just going to say thank you, but yes, I do have a girlfriend, and thank you. Welcome to coming. Be sure that you are subscribing to A to J here with this awesome guest who has me on board.
I'm sure that
Don't
was on
play with
accident.
me. This is the most action you've ever gotten. Oh no. Oh no,
do you
Eric, you're
want?
going into dangerous territory because just by saying that you will unleash the wrath of Hannah K. And trust me, you're going. Oh, she's laughing. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. She's laughing right now because she's kind of like saying, "Okay, I don't know who this Eric Rise is, but like I kind of feel that that's like really hilarious. If this is gonna be my boys to love thing, it's cool, but you have to like also realize that
It's
what's it
funny because
called?
this kind of ties into this. I have a friend. I have a really close friend of mine, and mind you, like I don't. I do it somewhat with you, but I don't do it that much with you because I feel like we're not that close. But a lot of the people I'm really close with, I'm very like guy friends. I should say, by the way, I should say
Okay.
specify that. I say some very crazy sexual things to them a lot of times.
Yeah, Manuel. I've
This
had to
talk.
listen to you say it.
You know this guy talk. It's like right. You have to be a little gay with the homies. It is what
I
it
was
is.
once at a Super Smash Brothers the concert. I was about to say concert. I was once at a Super Smash Brothers tournament, and there was this super hard commie that was there, and we're like totally friends. Okay, here's how communist he was. When the because this was
He
also
did
before the
become me.
pandemic. It
Okay.
was before the pandemic happened, and we'll keep our chins up, Eric. Before the pandemic happened, there was a friend of mine who was holding Smash Brothers tournaments, and there was this guy there that we were being very buddy with. We had a match, and then we like kissed each other because it was just like the ultimate bro moment. But
Oh,
this guy is like so communist that when the all of the Trump people here in Bakersfield start getting very like, we're gonna beat up all the Black Lives Matter people, all of the like left wing people. We're gonna beat the crap out of them, and this guy is literally like on their pages because they call him out because they used a photo of him, and like this guy's tall and everything, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna beat him up. He's gonna like, you know, I bet he'll take it real hard, like up the
oh my
butt and
god!
all this other stuff. But it was like funny because he's like talking back to him like, I'll beat up a Proud Boy, I will wreck your life and everything. And it's kind of rough because there were a lot of Trump supporters here. So he ended up going to New Mexico and ended up hanging out with like a lot of communists there. And yeah, like I kid you not, like he's the genuine article. Like he literally would beat the crap out of him.
I
He was just
love
outnumbered here.
I love how this story came about because you were like, oh, I kissed the guy, but there was also a communist in this thing, and they went to this nicer side.
I'm
But what I
just
was
saying that I like
Yeah, I have another funny story I'm gonna mention about that in a second about the Proud Boy thing, but I'll come back to that. I didn't want to say real
yeah.
fast that I have this really close friend, and I won't name them, but I have this really close friend this year who got a new girlfriend, and the new girlfriend does not like me being home like friend gay with him, and she gets really upset, and I'm like, what do you? And like to the point where like I don't think she doesn't like me at all, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm not really gonna like when I say said nudes, like well actually he kind of would send anyway. I'm not literally trying to steal your guy, man. What am I trying to say? I don't know. My point is, I'm going to start being that way with you. I'm going to see if Cat Girl gets upset with me. And my Proud Boy story was, oh, my Proud Boy story. Uh, for Vegas this year, I was like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I made a playlist of all the bands that will get me canceled. And there's bands and songs. And I have like Ronnie Radke, he's the guy from Falling in Reverse and shit like that. He's on there. But I specifically had one of my favorite bands growing up, who unfortunately, well, yeah, my favorite bands growing up was the Misfits, but not the Misfits with Glenn Danzig, the Misfits with Michael Graves.
Is that
Um,
the one before or after the Scream song?
yeah, that's the one with the yeah. I was a singer like when they became big in the '90s and the early 2000s. uh, like the resurgence of the Misfits. Most people, to be honest, the Misfits that existed back in the day with Glenn Danzig, no one really saw them live because like they were like so unknown. I don't think their music was even released until like after they'd broken up, really. Anyways, for those who don't know, Michael Graves is now a Proud Boy. It's like to the extreme.
Ah, bro, that's
Yeah,
so weak.
and it was funny because whenever I say that, when I was saying that out loud at San Diego Anime Con, Callie was all like, "How is the singer from the Misfits a Proud Boy?" And I'm like,
It
"The
seems pretty
skull."
off-brand and really sad.
But yeah, it's really sad because like I grew up with this era of the Misfits, and they have some really great music, and like it's like, why you got to do
You
this?
know, it could also be that as sad as it sounds, like
He's a
especially
very
because when
public
you
Proud
have
Boy too, by the way.
fuck, that's weak.
But
That's
you're
so
saying especially when you
bad.
have what?
I said that like it's really easy to look at people that are like Trump supporters and because they hate so much stuff that's like anything that swings left even by like an inch, like you can see a company that's trying to like cater to LGBT people to get extra money. And like they're very bad about it. You can tell when there's people that are being bad about like not being the best of allies, but they definitely want to be more inclusive, and it tracks because just in general more people are progressive than they are conservative, but like conservatives go really hard if you're just like anti-LGBT to the point that they will buy shitty ass products from
Oh yeah.
people just to say that, oh, we stand in like solidarity against all this woke nonsense.
When
And it's like you literally have a bunch of people that'll just like attend your shows or like literally spend money on terrible products just because you're like not left leaning. So it kind of sucks. It's genuinely like for anybody that's like not gonna want to cater to them, it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And then there's like people that like, him being a Proud Boy, I'm pretty sure he was down that rabbit hole long before like he just had random people there. But I genuinely there are some people that I see go hard right just so that they can get like all of that conservative audience.
Oh yeah,
Because
like I
like
was gonna say, like who the fuck knows who Michael Graves is these days, especially by himself. And now he does like far more country shit. And like it's like that dude from Stained. What the fuck's his name?
oh man.
But yeah,
Uh
the
mhm.
it's been a while. That dude now he's like super country.
Yeah.
He's super country and right wing and whatever the fuck. It's just like, what are you gonna do? I don't
Well,
know.
it's a bummer because I used to also listen to like his music because I heard Stained, or I would listen to Stained because I felt that when I was in high school I was feeling like all the things that I guess a middle-aged person that like deals with depression could be feeling. I didn't really understand the full context of necessarily what he was talking about, but because there was like a lot of emotion to it, I just kind of really vibed with it. And then as I got older, I really I grew to understand more about like what he was actually singing about. And then later, it's just kind of like, bro, please don't, bro, please no. Like same thing happened with the main singer of Trapped. Like he also
Oh,
ended up being like a Trump supporter too. I was like,
no, no,
bro,
my
like
worst one,
ah,
my worst one is the most famous one. If you're into into the January 6th nonsense rabbit hole,
oh god,
uh,
oh my
John
god,
Schaefer from Iced Earth. This band was meant for me. Like this band, they were a metal band. They were considered one of the big four of like the power metal scene at one point, and
yeah.
they did music that was both like they did a whole album dedicated to Spawn. They had their own mythos, and towards the end of their career, they were doing a lot of history stuff. Like they had songs about Attila, about like fuck. I can't think of off the top of my head about like some pirate shit. They had like all these history themed albums they were doing towards the end too. And I was like, oh, they had an album dedicated just to horror movie shit. I'm like, this is a band that's like just meant for me. I fucking loved them since I was like in high school. And then
Yeah.
John Schaefer not only was a part of the January 6th thing, I mentioned this before, like he was like a founding member of the Oath Keepers, who were apparently the
Oh,
ones who
that's
organized the
gross.
event.
That's so disgusting.
It is, and he by the way, he was on that playlist, by the way, on the cancel playlist. But but um yeah, I actually don't know. I should Google it right now. I know he pleaded guilty, but he turned
Oh,
evidence. He turned
he turned
evidence
evidence.
against the other members of the Oath Keepers, which I gotta say that's a fucking stupid. If you're gonna fucking already be like a traitor once, why are you gonna do it twice? Like at least stand by your homies at that point.
The backpedal, that backpedal, so that he don't go to jail. Yeah,
No, because
that's
he's
what
still
that
gonna
is.
go to jail. Like he did like a plea bargain because I think they were gonna give him a ton of time because I think he had like he bear sprayed like a fucking a security guard or
Cop,
some shit like
a
that. Yeah.
security guard.
So he like bear sprayed someone, and it's like a huge offense, obviously, because he actually hurt
Yeah,
someone. So he's probably gonna go to jail forever. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna. Well, he's already old, but he's like, I'm gonna go to jail for the rest of his life. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna just turn traitor against my homies. I'm like, okay, at the very least, don't go that. Have some
it's just
integrity.
it's just going ending off like it's funny. More so going into 2024 than it relating to 2023. I guess here are things that we hope don't come about
I hope there's no.
again. Like
I
20.
hope there's no January. I hope Trump isn't reelected.
I really hope so too. And I only hate how the situation is with what's it called? Because I know a lot of people aren't fans of Joe Biden, and like I really wish that we would have had Bernie Sanders, but I can understand that at that point we were going to vote for who we needed to vote for in 2020 so that Trump would not, be elected. It was pretty bad. Like I was I remember that since they weren't able to really call it that night and we had to wait for a while,
Oh
there were
yeah.
like a lot of my friends and like I agree, like I felt disgusted when I was seeing just how close it was getting. Um and I remember there was this friend of mine. She's out in Vegas, and she hangs out with a other group of friends of mine that also live in Vegas. And I remember she was just saying like, um, it's really gross how disgusting this is. And then I was going through like therapy at the time because just dealing with like the sheer amount of like Trumpism nonsense that was going on that year as things were like revving up. Like I was on therapy. Like even the therapist I had, who was a Trump supporter, was like trying to say that
Oh my
it's
god.
not all that bad. You just gotta be chill and stuff. And like I was able to, in his words, graduate because I could show him how I could think of sound mind and sound body. But I think he was just done with me, and he probably knew that I couldn't talk with him normally after like I was saying all the things that I was worried about. But from the other places I went to go and like figure out things that would be just better for myself moving forward, would have been like, okay, uh I guess you have to try to not take things personally. You have to be sure that you're giving it your best in whatever you do, and then be what's the other thing? You have to like you'd have to have integrity. You know, pretty much just mean what you say, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so this person,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, like they make their post, and so when I said this, I was just trying to genuinely just try to raise their spirits, and like I said, hey, like we did our best. And like they hadn't even called it yet, okay? So it's like I just said like this is like really the best that we could do, and she unfriends, blocks me, and then I had to know. I only saw this because I guess she forgot that I was following her Twitter or something. But she really went on to just say, kind of like, "Oh, what's this like equal sides bullshit type of
Oh.
deal?" Or like, what's this whole like we did our best in like this type of scenario. And there were people that like she didn't call out my name or anything like that, but just genuinely it felt shitty how like you know she describes me as this one particular thing, And everybody just joins in because they know you're friends and everybody's going to join in with it. Like, I was disgusted too about what I was seeing, but if I was literally somebody who at that moment was like not trying to just be more chill about it, come at a point where I would just want to be like sympathetic, um I would have said, like, you're right, we didn't do our best, because our best would be actually having to take more active approach, because she would say
Abolish the
stuff like,
electoral college.
she said that she was, especially in her story, she was saying, like, I'm an Asian American with my own business, that if there's just literally another Trump, uh and if Trump wins, like, there's almost no future for me. Like, especially when there was that rise in violence against all Asians just simply because of
Mm.
COVID.
Oh yeah.
So I genuinely was like, when I was trying to say stuff, I wasn't trying to downplay. But if I were to go back and if that were the case, because I was upset at that point, I just kind of felt like, you're right, we didn't really do our best. We all didn't do our best, because if we genuinely were going to do our best, we would make sure something like this would never happen and make more active approaches to keep something like this from occurring. But generally, that's not really a discussion anybody would realistically have. Plenty of Trump supporters more than were happy to showcase how they genuinely feel on January 6th. But like, if we were to
Dude.
like, if we were really to dial it back, like, nobody would realistically have that conversation unless, of course, she would be like one of the like first people to literally like, lead on revolution. And I'm just gonna say I hope that we just generally don't really have a repeat kind of moving forward into
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna say, like, I lost a lot of friends during all that, some of that nonsense, and I imagine it happening again with
yeah.
um the next year's election cycle. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
I,
like,
what,
it's bad when
what
it's
pisses
someone
me
that
off?
agrees with you.
What pisses me off is that well, that's too, like, there'll be times we're like, I think we're both saying the same thing. Why are we fighting? That happened a lot too.
Yeah.
But but what pisses me off more than anything else, uh, Trump or Biden, we're gonna get yet again the oldest president we had in history. We're gonna set the record again because they're both fucking octogenarians. Like, should
Oh
have retired
man.
like 30 years. Dude, this pisses me off. I never did the DTL, but I wrote a DTL on the PMRC thing. The people who put the fucking the parental advisory stickers on the CDs back in the day. Joe Biden was on that fucking thing. Joe Biden was already a senator in the fucking 80s. And I'm like,
No, he's
bro,
old.
I wasn't born yet. Wait, I was either not born or I had just been born. Just whatever. Like, how the fuck were you already a senator? You've been a senator my entire life. Like, how the fuck? Mine's because he was, for those who don't know, he was a senator right before he became president. He was vice president, I guess, at some point before that. But still, you've been in fucking politics that fucking long. I think he was like a governor or something before that. It's like, how the fuck? We need term limits, guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on
These
that
are
one,
not,
Manuel.
like, that is wild. And like and like for the and for the record, in case you're wondering, that whole PMR thing was made up of like the who's who of the time. Like, Al Gore was there, and like, other like people. I don't know. My point is, it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. I don't want
No,
another
I
80-year-old
agree.
president. We're gonna get like
Yes,
84. I don't know which.
we're
I think
gonna be
Biden's older, but yeah.
we're gonna be stuck with Biden simply because of just how bad the base has gotten on the
How old
right.
is Biden? Oh
And
yeah.
we can't, like, unless of course if there's something that occurs to like steal votes over on on the right, that's just not going to happen. So we are going to have a very similar situation where we're just going to have to like really bite the bullet and just stick with Biden, because the alternative decision is bad. Like, we literally have a Supreme Court that's like all like majority right wing and all this other nonsense. So like, generally, just next year we can just say it's going to be bad from a political standpoint, and hopefully won't be bad from like a flu standpoint, because it'd be really dope to still be able to go to
From a
conventions, meet
flu
up with the people
standpoint.
that we enjoy seeing. Like, I genuinely want to look forward to things more than I want to be upset about things.
Okay,
And I
you
feel
want
like
to hear
that's really cool that you were able to go to more cons.
something crazy that I just looked up right now, and this pisses me off so much more. Thank you for that, by
But
the way. I did hear all that about congratulating for getting more cons. So I was curious
yeah,
when Biden became a senator. You want to hear the most fucked up fact I've ever seen in my life?
What?
He became a senator at the age of 30, which weirdly enough makes him the 7th youngest senator in US history.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you go from being the youngest senator, by the way, who's senator for about 40 years? How the fuck do you become the youngest senator and then also place the record for being the oldest fucking president? That's
No,
some
no
bullshit.
Three
term limit.
unsuccessful runs followed by a vice presidential term,
Yeah.
sitting out another 4 years because you thought your party was going to win, and then running for a final successful time.
The, they're not even term limits. They have to just like, I don't get it. They force you to retire at most like real jobs when like you get to a certain age. Like, yeah, bro, you need to sit this one out. Why the fuck are we still letting politicians keep going until like 100?
Good question, Manuel. I don't know that,
Term
but
limits.
we are getting close to that time where we want to wrap up, and we've barely covered this year.
Oh yeah, I guess we technically did. Well, to be fair, like we kind of went off track, but I don't know if this is why Josh brought it up, but a lot of the reason why in my head a lot of it kept coming up was because, I felt like this is my first true post-COVID year back, which is funny because it's been like the pandemic's been like 4 years coming up soon. There's so much time lost. Like I look back on things and I'm like, wow. Like the A to J picture, the picture we took at Anime Los Angeles, that's our current group picture. That's from January 2017. That's sorry, I can't math. That's 7 years ago coming up soon. 7 years.
Time for a new one so I can finally get in the picture.
A to J has only been around for 9. By the way, A to J had its anniversary recently. But A to J's only been around for 9. How is that picture like that picture was a relatively young A to J picture. But like it's 7 years old. But to be fair, half of that was because of the fucking pandemic. But yeah, we didn't need a new picture. Maybe we'll take one at ALA. I keep saying that.
Yeah, you keep saying that, man. Then you get drunk and all the plans go out the window.
This ALA, there's a little less of us. Well, honestly, I think we just take whoever's there because there are some other pictures that we used before that are just like me, Tiffany, Angie, and like, someone else. So like next time there's like more than four or five of us in a group, we'll just take a fucking picture. And that'll have to do. Probably after a panel, whatever the panel I'm doing with Rose, after that one, we'll just take a group picture. Whoever shows up is in the picture. Anyway, yeah, let's wrap this up. Speaking of which, I'm going to ALA and doing 2 panels there. Chicks Dig Giant Robots and what's the other one? The other one is
Magus.
it's J-pop. I mean J-pop in the 80s. It's not the J-pop in the 80s one. It's idols in the 80s. Sorry. And then this weekend, this Saturday, in like 3 or 4 days, I'm doing the 2000s. I'm debuting that at LA Comic Con of all places.
Nice.
Yeah, I needed. Oh, I didn't finish my story. My whole point was I'm trying to go to more cons, and I literally went to every single one I could by the end of the year. I applied to all of them and went to just about all of them. The only one I didn't go to that I kind of wanted to was YumeCon in NorCal, only because it was only a 1-day convention and I could not get a programming slot in it. But I would have totally have bussed up there, like lived there for a day, then bust right back the same day. I've done that before back in the day, so I would have totally have done that. I'll do it next year if they take a panel. But yeah. Wrap it up. What do you have to say about what's your? I guess we didn't say much. What's your hope for 2024 besides hopefully no Trump?
I want to see if I can do more interviews. It was really cool getting to do interviews over at the San Diego Anime Con, and I really want to see if I can either do more interviews with you guys or see if I'll do some more interviews also with like my channel. I just really want to like put myself out there more within the industry. I want to like literally be part of the anime industry in like my own way, just kind of comment about anime, talk with some peeps. And then I also want to like see if I can join in or make my own panels as well, either with friends that I have where it's something that's either related to the Peak Filler podcast I'm trying to start up or something along those lines. But I want to see if I can start making just more content and then doing more, and also when possible joining up with you guys. Like I'm more than down.
Yeah, I tell you, I want to do a whole podcast on paneling one day. But just the really fast version is like the secret to doing a panel is just find a topic you like or you want to hear about, just do it yourself. Like, do you think I knew all this shit? Like all this, like I'm not saying I'm perfect, but do you think I knew all this encyclopedic knowledge of like what hits were the top in like in the 80s in Japan? I fucking just felt like doing it and looked it all up. It's like you think I knew everything about idols back in the day. I just was like, hey, I'm gonna do a panel on idols, and I just looked it all up. The fucking giant robot shit, the horror shit. I mean, I knew some of this stuff, but you just pick a topic you like and just fucking dig into it. And that goes for anything, I guess. But yeah, that's my long and short of it there. But yeah, I guess my goal, the obvious goal, if I didn't make it obvious, is I want to fucking go back to doing 30 or so panels a year. I mentioned that I think we're on, I have to do a count again, but we're about 150 plus with A to J. And the reason we got so many was because I would do like 20 or plus a year. And it kind of slowed down because of the pandemic. I remember like in 2022, I'm like, I did 8 panels this year. That's fucking nothing. So yeah, I gotta step it up. I gotta get those numbers to like 300. Maybe not 100 panels in 1 year, but yeah. I don't even care about doing a lot of cons. If one con takes 30 panels, I'll just fucking do it all at one go.
Manuel, then you actually have to leave the hotel room.
Marathon it.
I know. I don't know about that, but yeah, that's I don't know about leaving the hotel. I mean, but anyways, that's my thing. JD, what's your goal for 2024?
I want to do more content for A to J. I want to start making videos and get you and Warren to finally get off your butts and make that Final Fantasy video you've been talking about for like 3 years.
I'm usually not on my butt. Warren has been like AWOL. I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking a lot more about just doing kind of not low rent videos. I don't want to say like it'll be cheap content, but like just recording it and putting pictures or something over it, or video, of course. Not even so
just
much
Ken Burns it, Manuel.
Exactly. And there's so many YouTubers I watch that do that. I just never realized it before, So I'm like, I could just do that. And obviously, like, if there's an audience for it or whatever, it's the kind of thing that'll get easier, like, as I do it. Everything gets easier after you do it the first time. You go into a system, just like drinking. It's always about drinking. Anyway.
Yeah, it always comes back to drinking with you, Manuel. I think you might have a problem.
No, never. Anyways, cons. Let's do them all. Peace out. Thank you for watching UPZ. Next Tuesday is episode 222. I hope that we'll be doing our first Christmas episode. Maybe it's about music. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but it'll be Christmas related. That's it.
All right.
And then maybe we're playing games tomorrow, but I doubt it because Warren has not said shit. And there's no. This is DTR off week. So peace out.
Bye, everybody.